Welcome back to the WHTC Talk Morning News Program for this Friday, August 13th. I'm Gary Stevens. Friday mornings at this time, we travel Michigan, find out what's going on in our area and throughout the state, some major events, and talk a little travel and tourism with the Vice President of Pure Michigan, Dave Lorenz, joins us via the Zoom connection. And Dave, good morning. Welcome back. And hopefully all is well after a very great end to the Coast Guard Festival last weekend in Grand Haven.
All is well, and it sure was. I have to tell you, I was a little concerned about my announcing of the parade on Saturday because, you know, I've had a little health issue this last year or so, and I don't always have my voice working too well. But it all worked out just fine, and I attended the Saturday night big show at the Waterfront Stadium, which was fantastic, by the way, followed by the musical fountain and the fireworks. And wouldn't you know, after that, everybody, you know, kind of streamed out of town. You get, you know, all those people walking toward the expressway. Got in the car, got on the expressway. I was home in like 11 minutes, which was a record. The traffic control was fantastic. But as soon as I got on the expressway, it started to rain. It was like Camelot. You know, everything was perfect. And then just at the time when you can allow the rain to come, it did. It was a spectacular celebration of the Coast Guard. It was great to see the Commandant. I hadn't seen him since he's become the Commandant, so that was cool. And all the other Coasties as well. And this was a celebration of the women in the Coast Guard. Now, don't ask me her name because I won't remember it, but on the Thursday night dinner, the community dinner, I sat next to a wonderful lady, and she had been retired from the Coast Guard, so she wasn't wearing her uniform, so I couldn't tell what her rank had been. And as we were talking, it was obvious to me that she was one of the ladies who was going to be honored. So I just assumed that. So I said, "Were you a captain?" And she says, "Yes." And then one of the other ladies at the table said, "Well, she was a captain at one time. She retired as an admiral." So it's like, so she was one of the first women to graduate from the Coast Guard Academy in New London, Connecticut in 1980. Now think about that. It took until 1980 for us to graduate women from the Coast Guard. So as happy as we are to see, such a diversification of almost everything in society, and to see women come into these very prominent roles, it was kind of an eye opener for me to think that wasn't that long ago that women were not even allowed in the Coast Guard Academy. So it's great to see.
The thing is, though, David, 1980 is 41 years ago.
I know, but to you and me,
think about it. That.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as I'm talking like an old timer here, I know a lot of the people in the audience are thinking 1980 was a long time ago. Yes, it was just yesterday to me. So great to see, and great to have this huge communal event. Things were different. For instance, the art show was not the art show as we normally have. I think it was kind of a combination of the craft fair and the art show, and they didn't have as many booths deliberately to allow some more distancing in Central Park. So there weren't as many people, but it was just as grand a celebration as ever. And another way that we're getting our lives back. So it was a great thing for me. I really enjoyed it.
Peg McNicholas, and that question from the newsroom. Peg? Up. Takes care of that now. She was going to have a question. She had it answered about something there. So you took care of it. Now,
tell Peg I said hi, though.
Okay, I will pass the word along. She's just waving a hi from the newsroom. I'm going to throw something at you, David, that at time to time we address it with Linda Hart, who is the executive director of the Holland Area Visitors Bureau. And she talks about the fact that many of the places in the Holland area have no vacancy signs up and have had that for a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, you keep a pulse on a statewide basis. Is that reflective statewide of places where if you're not having a reservation, you're not going to walk in most of the time and find a room because no vacancy lights are going to be on?
So this is an interesting question, Gary, maybe more interesting and complicated than you might expect. So let me try to answer it as succinctly as possible. So the answer is yes and no. What we found this year is just as we expected, all that pent up demand. People just couldn't wait to get out there and travel. So here in Michigan, people are traveling and they're going up north. And up north is more of a sentiment than a direction most of the time. But this summer, up north really means up north for a lot of people. People are heading up north to northern Michigan communities, and they're heading to the lakeshore communities. They're distancing. We don't really consider it that right now. We're kind of naturally finding places where we can get away from big crowds. And even though that is causing big crowds in these smaller communities in a different way, people feel better about it. So we're doing really well in communities like Holland and where I am in Grand Haven, Muskegon. But that is not the entire story. Because if you look at communities like Grand Rapids or Detroit or Lansing or Kalamazoo or Flint or Saginaw, our cities aren't doing as well because people just haven't come back yet. So one of the things we hope to do this fall is encourage people to get back to the cities as well. And why not? Culture, food, tremendous experiences, beautiful architecture, and events like, for me, the Detroit Tigers. I can't wait to go see them. And they're doing so well. How can you not want to go? So we need to get back to that because we have this very uneven rebound happening right now. And that's not a sustainable rebound. Meanwhile, prices are going up dramatically in these places where people are going. And the experiences, to some degree, aren't as rewarding for the families traveling because we don't have enough employees to serve them. So they have to wait in lines. They are maybe not doing the things they really want to do. Because of all these things, I think it's going to be a very challenging next couple of years. And we're going to have to really encourage people yet to travel again next year and the following year and to stay here in Michigan and then to pull more people in from other places to fill that gap. So it's an interesting challenge we're going to have. And in fact, I just had a meeting internally to go to the executive office about budget. And I'm sincere when I say, if we don't get fully funded to the degree that I think our office needs to be, and that means between $40 and $50 million, depending on what we can do and what we're allowed to do, I think we're going to be really challenged this next couple of years. So we'll see.
What will help maybe with the city situation is some of the events that had to be postponed last year are coming back, most notably the car cruise, 28th Street in Grand Rapids, of course, the Woodward car cruise in Detroit, and some other annual events that come in the cities. They'll bring them back.
Yeah, that's true. And that will help. Now, here's the problem, though, the other problem that I'd forgotten to mention. We keep a track on, we're always looking at research. So Longwoods International, they've been doing more than a year study. Every 2 weeks, they survey the American traveler. And things have been going along rather swimmingly. The sentiment to travel has been improving dramatically up until 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago, all this talk about the Delta variant. And I really, of course, it's a serious thing, but viruses change all the time. So this Delta variant and how much easier it is to catch and all that talk in the media has really impacted the intent to travel for the American traveler. So in just 2 weeks, we saw a dramatic decline on intent to travel over the next 6 months. So a full third of Americans are now saying they're going to be less likely to travel. They're going to delay their travel plans. So just as we needed them to travel into the fall and winter months here in Michigan, I think we're going to have that sentiment hurt us. And then this coming spring, let's hope that, during all this time, things get better with the virus, that we all do our part by, talking to our doctors. If we haven't had those vaccines, get it done, and that we can get our business and our lives back.
He is Dave Lorenz, the Vice President of Pure Michigan. He joins us Friday mornings to talk about what's going on in travel tourism and some of the events going on as well. The segment is called Travel Michigan. Dave, as always, thank you very much for your time and your observations. And if all goes well, let's do this again next Friday morning.
Sounds good, Gary. See ya.